You. Welcome to Apologetically You. Today's podcast includes another twist on our regular scheduled topics of health and wellness, and Tuls and I chat about what makes Serena Williams unapologetically herself. We want for you to engage with this podcast and let us know if you agree or disagree with any of the solutions we have suggested. Head over to YouTube to comment on the video. If you are on Spotify, make sure you hit the follow button and send us an email if you want to share your own experience. We'd appreciate a share if you enjoyed this podcast too. This podcast would not be possible without my gorgeous co-host. So without further delay, welcome to Tuls.
Hi, Kelly. Oh my gosh, you just nailed that. What an intro.
I lost it a little bit with saying unapologetically and
Yeah,
then one other word, but I'm getting there.
that's okay. It was perfectly imperfect, I think.
Compared to Tulsa's always perfectly perfect.
I mean,
Go
how
back and
many?
listen to one of Tulsa's intros. Huh? How many
I
have
was
you
gonna
done
say,
compared
well,
to
how
me?
many, intros have I done or practiced or messed up?
All of them.
Well, listen,
I make
I
you do
think,
all of them.
well, there you go. So I think you did awesome. So the more and more you do, the better and better you're gonna get.
Yeah, I
No, it was
know.
nice
It's
to
good.
It was nice to hear you on the intro. I love listening to you. So I'm gonna jump straight in on a question and answer. What has been
Okay.
your biggest win this past week?
We are moving into a 103-year-old house and selling this one that I'm sitting in, and while we build another one. So when this 103-year-old house was for sale, we went to look at it. But when you're looking at someone's house, you don't look in their knife and fork drawer, you don't look in their cupboards, you don't lie on the beds. Anyway, turns out the house, when the sales agreement came through, all the furniture, everything that was in the kitchen, everything is for sale.
Oh,
So, sorry, it all came included, wasn't even for
mm,
sale. It all came
yeah.
included. So on the weekend, we started packing up this house,
Mm.
and I went over to the other one to see what actually do we need. Like, I know things come with it, but what do we actually need? Nothing. We need nothing. So
Wow.
I know. And I laid on the beds and they are really comfortable. 100% win. That's mine. What about yours?
Oh my God, what a huge win.
Huge win. I do just need to pack stuff in boxes, put it in storage, drive over to the other house.
Oh my God. And how far is the other house in relation to the house that you're going to be building?
It is 18 minutes
Oh,
inland. So we're
okay.
going to be living on acreage, which is like my heritage. I grew up on acres. I'm a country kid, and it's in a little town called Murwillumbah. And I love Murwillumbah. I started coming up to Murwillumbah when I was in year 6, maybe year 5, year 6.
Yeah.
So I was 9, 10 years old. So grand memories of Murwillumbah,
Wow. So
right?
you're going
And
back
here
to
I
the
am.
history of when you were younger.
Absolutely. Yeah, I used to come up here to ride the horses.
That's so
Um,
incredible. So
yeah, and
what
compete.
happens? So
Yeah.
you're still near the ocean though, right?
Yeah. Yep. So right here, we are 2-minute walk from the straight
Ah,
onto the
okay.
beach. But we would have to drive from where we're moving to. But that's fine. I mean, there's just adventure in a different way. We're on a riverbank. We could swim, I guess.
Yeah. But the
We
thing is,
might be
I've
tough.
heard, I know there's a
Mm.
lot of people who surf, but there are a lot of
Yeah.
wild animals in the ocean. And I've never really asked you this, but
Yeah.
is are there certain times where you cannot swim in the ocean?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's not a rule, but it is more dangerous at feeding time. And the
Okay.
feeding time, right? Making sense now, isn't it? So yeah, or where there's a fish ball, which is like just a big group of fish, because a shark will come along and just chew its way through it. And
Yeah.
if you're standing or the fish go around your legs, then the shark just chomps straight through whatever. And
Mm.
if you're there, you're one of those things. Um, yeah, so dusk, whether there's a fish ball, murky water, just because it's harder to see them.
Yeah.
A 3.5 meter shark washed up on the beach the other day. It was unwell,
Oh.
and it was euthanized eventually.
Oh.
But it washed up on the shore, so it was close enough to. It was around,
Yeah.
So that's the ocean dangers. Or blue bottles, they sting. They
Yeah.
don't. Maybe enough of them would make you very unwell.
But
Um.
a lot of
Mhm.
people have the it's not a swimsuit. What do they call it?
Oh yeah, wetsuit.
A wetsuit, yeah. And sometimes people, I remember going to Australia years ago, and they said, well, wear the wetsuit because it'll help against sunscreen, but against the sun, but then also in case you get stung. Like, is that true?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, for the blue bottles. And if you swim up in north of here, so northern Queensland, where there are stingers,
Yeah.
you wear a stinger suit, which is just like a swimsuit, but it's full length, full arms, and a hoodie that
Okay.
actually sticks
Well,
on.
now I
Yeah,
feel prepared, even though I didn't know that and I went into the ocean anyway.
absolutely. Yeah, or just be careful. Just ask me which beaches.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, I'll
interesting.
keep you safe from them. And that's the sea animals anyway. Then I'll have to educate you on the land ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. There's this one picture that keeps coming up. Now, if anybody knows me when I was a child, maybe, you probably don't if you're just listening into this podcast, but I used to be really terrified of spiders, like to the point where I used to get nightmares and I used to be the type
Oh.
of person who would run away up the stairs into another room as my dad would go get the spider and then check it out the house. And then came a pivotal point in my in my adult life when I was working in Camp America, and I was so exhausted. It was working with a lot of very disabled children, but also it ranged from about, I'd probably say, uh, they weren't as young as younger than 10. I doubt they were younger than 10, but they were young, and then obviously it ranged up to, I think, aged 18. So they would come to the summer camp and we would basically look after them, and a lot of times we'd live in the cabin as well, so we would take care of any illnesses or any incidences that happened in the night. And there was one incident that one of the campers actually got sick. We don't know why, and then my co-camper, what do they call it, counselor, she absolutely hated vomit. And so it was just me taking care of it. I was like, don't worry, I'll take care of it, take care of all the sheets, cleaned up the camper. She was obviously like kind of like almost at the brink of vomit herself. You're smelling it, you're hearing it, you're seeing it. She tried not to look at it. So I was there taking care of it. And this was just one example. And I remember being so exhausted that obviously you are in the middle of nowhere and you're in these huts that obviously don't really protect you against the heat or the external environment as much. But then there were just spiders hovering above my head. I'm so friggin' tired. I don't care. I don't care.
Oh.
But they were the daddy long leg ones. So I know that some
Oh,
can be
yeah.
poisonous, but the majority, no, actually they can be poisonous, but because of the way they're actually built, they're not. Like, they're not to
No,
us,
that's right. They
basically.
can't. Yeah,
Yeah, and then
yeah.
I just
Their
realized that I
fangs
was like, there
can't
was a
reach you.
bunch of them. They were just hovering overhead. That was pretty much where they were sleeping. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So I think it was that pivotal point where I was like, you know what? It doesn't really matter. I would still get freaked out by really fast, big black hairy ones,
Yeah.
but I've now realized, like, stepping more into spirituality, I'm like, we're all connected. Like, animals,
Yes.
they are serving a specific purpose. They eat specific animals. They go about their own thing. It's like we're living in their world. They're not living in ours. And so
Yeah.
when I saw this image, going back to why I was a little bit freaked out, is there's this image of this big, massive tarantula underneath the car, what do you call it? The car handle, the door handle.
Yeah. Door handle. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, well, be aware because they live everywhere. And I was like, is that happening in Australia?
Nah. I mean, yes, they could be under the door handle, but I don't know if we have tarantulas. Do we have tarantulas? Aren't they an American thing?
I
Because
don't
people have them
know.
as
Maybe that
pets.
was an
They're those big
American thing
hairy
then.
ones.
Yeah.
We have
Interesting.
huntsmen. Yeah,
Yes.
huntsmen. And they can
Yeah.
be big, but I don't know if they do bite you. I don't know. I'm not scared of spiders.
Well,
Snakes,
it was
not my
funny
fun.
because when I was in America, one of my cousins, we'd go down to the basement, and their basement is obviously their entertainment room, their gym. It's constant living space. And you don't think of it as a basement, even though it's nice and dingy, it's nice and dark for all those spiders. So I was about to walk down the stairs, and there was this spider like smack bang in the middle of the stairs on the landing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't go down. Like I need to pass it to go to the gym area. And so I can't remember what happened, but I remember calling out to my cousin going, hey, can somebody like deal with this? Like I need to keep an eye on it just in case it disappears. So you need to get it because otherwise I won't be able to rest it being in that environment. And so he's like freaking me out, going, it's a black widow. It's I was like, oh, I've heard they're poisonous, they're dangerous.
Yeah,
And so
there's
he took,
movies about those kind of
I
spiders.
mean, that's my point. I read up on this,
Yeah.
so I knew what it was. And then here's me completely freaking out because obviously my cousin, I think he's only like 2 years younger than me. So he was just being a rat. And I was just completely complacent on that. And then obviously he didn't do anything. So there's me watching a movie in the pitch black going, holy crap. Just freaking out
There's a
about
black spider in this black space somewhere. Yeah,
it.
I don't know if I'd like that. I wouldn't be comfortable around that when there's a spider on the loose. But nah,
I wonder how many we swallow when we're sleeping, though, because apparently there's a
that's
stat.
just there is there is a number, isn't there, that we're supposed to have swallowed? I hope not. I think you would wake up coughing at least.
Right? I don't know. Who knows?
That's what
But
I
the thing is,
think.
why would they want to commit
Why
suicide
would they
that
be
way?
near your mouth? Yeah,
I
why
know.
would they go
I
down the
know.
mouth?
Anyway, you asked me what my biggest win was. My biggest win, I
Yes.
feel, okay, so this is a big deal for me. Like you know how as coaches, we know every sport is different. We know that our athleticism, our fitness, our strength depends upon the type of sport that we're doing. So I've been taking tennis coaching lessons. And so I've got a tennis coach and he's kind of helping me a lot, basically. So I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be consistent on it. And it's all outdoors, but I started off a group sessions. So I was like, no, I need to kind of pick up the technique and get a little bit quicker in my learning. So the best way to do it is obviously one-to-one coaching. So we had made an agreement. We were like, okay, so there is going to be a one-to-one coaching on a Saturday, but it'll be followed by the like mixed doubles, like a group coaching session. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. And he reassured me that I'm going to be okay because it'll be a lot of kind of like learning and waiting. I was absolutely knackered. I knew I would be. I did the one-to-one coaching and then I did the mixed doubles and the coaching, and I was absolutely wiped. Like I burnt around 1,000 calories, which is really hard to do for women.
Yes.
I've not done that lately. So I did that on, when did I do that? On Wednesday or something. And then I did it again on Saturday. And now my Whoop band is just not happy with me now. It's
How
like,
many days recovery does it say?
well, I thought a day recovery would have been fine. And I'm on day 4 now. So yeah, this is like Tuesday, right? And I've got another tennis session booked today. Well, it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a long one. So I was like, okay, how much more rest do you need, body? You take it for granted how quickly you can bounce back and recover. In all fairness, I have been doing 5Ks on the rower, so I kind of have to pull that back a little bit because I do 5K and then
Yeah.
I end up going to tennis. So obviously, I think it's more of a mental thing as well as a tiny bit of physical because mentally, when you're learning something, it takes more cognitive
Yeah.
work, right?
Well, there's a lot of movement in tennis, forward, back, sideways, up, down, like every plane of movement is involved in tennis. So you're probably learning, like straining your
Mm,
nervous system by or challenging your nervous system by putting new movements and stacking patterns together. But apart
yeah.
from that, your heart rate will go up, down, up, down, up, down. Are you measuring the whole thing or just like your recovery afterwards? Because you've got the,
Yeah,
oh no,
no,
that's the Aura ring.
I'm
Yeah.
wearing the Whoop band during the activity, so I
Yep.
note what my heart rate is doing and which period, which percentile my heart rate is in for the longest period of time. So it is variable because it's not constant. Like I'm not proficient enough to do like a really long rally. So for me, it's like, okay, let's try and get into a rally. Let's look at techniques. Let's work on the serve, let's work on the forehand and the backhand. And it's like I'm being fed the balls basically. And then we
Yep.
try and do a rally at the end. And by then I notice when I'm tired that my form, my technique just drops. It's almost like, you know how when you do upper body stuff and your upper body just literally just goes, okay, I can't wait. I can't lift this weight anymore. Whereas your legs can possibly like keep going. Whereas your arms usually just kind of switch off like a light bulb, right? It's a bit like that with my
Mm-hmm.
technique on tennis. Like all of a sudden, I feel great, and then it just goes back to that bad habit. And I'm like, oh, wow, I know when what did my coach say? He was like, you ran out of porridge.
That's cute, but absolutely true. Yeah, you've just puffed out.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
gone. All gone.
More
Yeah.
protein, more recovery. Like it's really interesting to see this. So if any of you who are learning a new sport, please let me know how you're getting on because my coach reminded me as well. He was like, if you got good straight away, like this is a tough sport. Like you're not going to become a Serena Williams, which is actually really funny that, I was talking about tennis. It wasn't planned, but
Yep.
basically, yeah, you're not going to become an elite tennis player. Don't worry about it. It takes years. Like you don't need to take it seriously. You just get to
I
enjoy
think
it.
that's my every client wants to start at Olympic level, which is what they see people do, and they think they expect to start there. And I think that's my biggest thing. We don't start at Olympic
Yeah,
level. Like neither did Serena, but
absolutely.
everyone wants to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what made you smile this week, Cal?
Um Oh man, what did make me smile? I did have it worked out too, because I knew you were going to ask me. um, Plenty of things have made me smile this week. Beautiful weather. I think we're having our second summer actually.
Nice.
So yeah, so today was a lovely 26. It doesn't usually get above 30 where I live.
Yeah.
Um, but 26 and just lovely today. That made me smile. Got out and about in 26 degrees. Nice. What about you? What made you
Okay,
smile?
this is going to be an easy one because it's currently
Uh-huh.
sunny, is clear skies, and it's not been a very springy spring in the UK. But
Okay.
today we're going up to 17 degrees. Like that is a win.
Oh, sun's out, guns
Sun's
out.
out. Yeah, the tennis is going to be on this afternoon. Like I get to bask in the sunshine. And even this morning, like I am very conscious about how much sunlight comes into my retina first thing in the morning. So I'm
Mm,
trying to just
mm.
get a peek of the sunshine in the morning just to kind of reset
Very important.
body
Yeah.
clock. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm very conscious about that. So coming
Yeah.
up, what is your intention for this coming week? Are you kind of like all sorted now? Are you moved? Are you done?
No.
Okay.
No. No. Um, we're having photos. Sorry, that was because the cat bit me. He just nipped at my leg because he's hungry. Um, we are having photos on Tuesday the 7th next week, so I have to have everything done by the 7th, but really only for photos. So no one's going to be walking through it yet. So I can still have things in the cupboard or
Yeah,
in the drawers.
yeah.
But soon after that, I have to have everything out. So what my intention for this week is to have the house photo ready and the yard photo ready. But that's a joy. I love doing that. You know me and housework.
Oh, yeah. That is your joy, isn't it?
Weirdly, yes. And the gun. I just love before and afters.
I was literally about to say, make sure you take before and after photos, please, because I would love to see them.
Yes. Oh, you should see it
'Cause
now.
my intention was to actually come see this place, but now I get to see another place, so it's still a win for me. I mean, it's
Oh,
fine.
yeah, that's
Kelly's
right. I'll
adorable as
take
well.
photos.
I feel like Joey and Friends, where you know how Chandler and
Hmm.
Monica move, and they're like, "There's a Joey room." So
Yeah,
Kelly just
yeah.
showed me the blueprint of a house, and she was like, "There's a Tulsi room." I was like, "Win,
That's it.
win."
Tulsi wing. You'll have your
I
own wing in the new one.
I love it. Okay, so how about we go into the hot topic of the day?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm actually really interested in this because Kelly gave a really different spin of Unapologetically You. Last time we did this, we did it on Taylor Swift. So if you haven't checked that one out, please go do check that one out after this. And why we picked Serena, well, this was actually my idea. I loved the
Mm,
concept that Kelly had, but I thought, why not Serena Williams? Because throughout her
mm,
career, she's been consistently unapologetic about her ambition, her confidence, her style on and off the court. She's known for speaking her mind, standing up for herself, and then not conforming to traditional expectations, whether it's her powerful playing style, her fashion choices, her outspokenness on issues of gender inequality, racial justice. Serena has really stayed true to herself. And I don't know these people in person, right? But what
mm,
I am interested in delving deeper into some points. So Kelly and I will go between the both of us, but Kelly, I found this really interesting.
mm.
So I remember this news coverage.
Me
So
too.
Serena has always viewed fashion as an extension of her personality and identity. I think as women, when we get to a stage where we're confident in ourselves, we really do want to, we may or may not be confident in ourselves in the ability to have fashion viewed as an extension of our personality, our characteristic, our
Hmm.
ambition. And so for me, I'm still trying, I feel, to match my fashion statements to my personality and identity, because I feel like I can dress it up in various things, but then I'm trying to kind of rejig my wardrobe over time, and I'm doing this kind of like in doses, in stages. But going back to Serena in particular, that
Hmm.
this amazing, incredible person at the French Open in 2018, this was on the news. It was everywhere. She made such a bold statement by wearing a sleek black suit. Now, beyond the
Mm.
aesthetic appeal, like the cat suit in itself, if you're watching this on YouTube, that actually is the image of the cat suit. And she said it served a practical purpose. It helped prevent blood clots. And that was a health issue she had faced following the birth of her daughter. Now, she faced so much criticism by the French Tennis Federation. So it wasn't even by other
Yeah.
people, it was by the Federation. And Serena, like, God bless her, she stood by her choice. She emphasized that the cat suit made her feel empowered. It made her feel like a superhero on the court. Like, I love that
Hmm.
statement. And then she also highlighted the fact that it was important for her health, the functionality in this athletic attire, because a lot of tennis is played in white. Now, what are your
Yes.
thoughts on this? I'm so interested in hearing what you thought about the news coverage and how you think of this attire.
I am the master of hindsight.
Ooh,
When when it 2018, did you say? When it was
yeah.
all going down, I was on the peripheral of it. I didn't really think about her why she wore it.
Mm.
I probably read the news and probably lent a little bit too much of into it. But then that's when Serena Williams, and I know she's been around for much, much longer than that. I know that. But that's really when she came on my radar, right?
Ah,
When,
okay.
right? And then there was more about her, more and more, more, So that's when you kind of go, no, it's not fair to judge someone, which I guess I did, judge her on one thing worn one time, and it was against an institute. Well, Wimbledon's more of the institution, but everyone wants to be like Wimbledon, right? So Wimbledon
Yeah.
has a very strict dress code, or has had up until very recently. And so I think the French Open tried to go all Wimbledon on her. And yeah, I looking back now, I good on her.
Yeah.
I think she looked awesome. And from the practical purposes of blood clots, absolutely. Absolutely. And guys wear them under their shorts.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
can, and they wear longer shorts so they can wear longer ones. But she just wore the full length ones, I think. Did she wear full length? But I think she looked great. I
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. And it's so funny
Mm.
because this clothing battle, female athletes, is still going on. Like right now,
Oh yeah.
the Olympics that are happening in Europe, well, about to happen in Europe, there is
Mm,
controversy around the Nike athletes, the
mm,
runners, the obviously everybody who is playing on track athletes.
mm.
Who is competing on track, should I say. There was a lot of controversy just recently in the news about how little their bottoms are, how much they are conscious about running or performing in that in such little material covering their
It's not only the back
below.
part either. It's the front part. Did you read that or see the photos
I
of
didn't
that?
actually.
Oh my good grief. It's the front part that
Yeah.
is I wouldn't feel comfortable on a beach wearing that, let alone running or sprinting and
Yeah.
trying my best in that.
Yeah.
And maybe they do wear that. Maybe they do. Maybe the athletes couldn't care less because I don't know that any athlete commented on it.
No, they did.
Um,
Actually,
oh,
some of
they
them were
did.
saying, yeah,
Okay.
the down below, I don't even know what to say
Yeah,
it. They were just like,
I
it's coming
know.
out, like it's being exposed. And it was like,
Yes.
"Oh, that's not okay." And then and then the actual Nike had come back to say, but there's a variety of athletic wear. That is just one component. And I was like, but why is that even one component? And I think one of
Yeah.
the athletes just said, the men don't have to wear this. And it's so true.
Can you imagine? That would be awful if the men did wear it.
Right?
We don't want to say that. No, look, the girls, the females who are able to wear it, should they choose to, look fabulous. Look at them. But
Yeah.
if they don't want to wear it or compete in it, no,
Yeah, they
no.
should have a choice. I feel like if
Yeah.
the thing is, if you're looking at equality, yes, okay. I know that females in rugby have competed to not wear white shorts, and it has been the same for other sports as well. Like, why should we wear white when
Mm,
obviously we are worried about leakage? Like, I don't even wear that
mm-hmm.
much white, and I used to get worried about leakage. Sometimes it still happens
Totally.
now and then, right? If you've got a
Yes.
day out, you're preparing, and then from a male perspective, you're never, ever, ever, ever going to be compassionate to that because you're never going to know how it feels. So it's not a case of being empathetic or compassionate about the female. It's going, I understand your point of view. How can we fix it? Tell me what to do. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is don't just take it as this is what we feel is right. It's actually going to a variety of women because a lot of women, again, won't be sympathetic or compassionate about it. Actually, go to these
Mm,
people and ask them what their opinions are. Nobody builds a business thinking, this is a fantastic idea. I think I can help the world without asking the customers what they want,
that's true.
right?
Yeah.
They're always
Yeah.
going to
True.
have the customer service, the surveys, the acknowledgement, the interviews. And yes, okay, people generally don't know what they want. You do have to put a product out there, but it's not ignoring what people want. It's how can you solve their problem? And that's how your business is going to succeed. But anyway,
Yep.
I feel this is probably a good segue into sexism, though, right?
Right. Yeah, and Serena's been, well, she's spoken up. She hasn't been outspoken about anything. She's just spoken up and answered questions about all these things.
Yeah.
But during the 2018 US Open, not the French, but still 2018, Serena Williams was penalised for a coaching violation, which was smashing her racket and arguing with the umpire. But how many men do that, Tuls?
Oh my gosh, so many.
And well known for it. And like John McEnroe was the first one I
Yes,
know of.
same.
Okay, but he's known for it and
Yeah. Didn't
loved for
Djokovic
it
do it as
now.
well? Doesn't Djokovic
Probably.
smash some of his rackets when in frustration?
He used to do it.
He
I don't
used
know
to
if he
do
does
it.
it more any now, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
he
know that
definitely used to.
Federer doesn't, hasn't ever, and Djokovic
No.
had that comparison. It's so funny
Yes,
because
that's right.
even the tennis players are getting compared against one another. But yeah, anyway, go on regarding John McEnroe
Yes.
was
So,
very famous
well,
for it.
John McEnroe, so he would always smash his racket and he definitely argued with the umpire.
Yeah.
Like every match. And it was kind of funny when well, at the time, I know it was controversial, but you look back at the arguing now and you think, yeah, like he wasn't saying anything terrible. And I'm sure, I don't remember her arguing with the umpire. I don't recall what was said. I do recall the furor over it, but I don't recall what was said. But I'm sure she wasn't saying derogatory things.
No.
It would have been tennis based.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what did John McEnroe used to? He used to ask if the umpire was blind or
Yes.
something like that. So
Yeah.
if she said that, it's only equal to what he was saying. It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, she was frustrated because she, like I said, she was penalized and she was frustrated by what she perceived as unfair treatment.
Mm,
And she confronted the umpire and accused him of sexism, asserting
mm.
that male players, i.e., John McEnroe, are not penalised as severely for similar behaviour. Right or wrong, Tuls?
I mean,
They're
I
not
think
penalised.
it's so funny as well because I remember having this conversation with a friend, and I remember during a tennis game, he had said to me, he said about women and men being paid the same thing, like being
Yeah,
paid the same during tennis. And I knew there was controversy around payment for female athletes and male athletes. There always has been, because we know that there has been more coverage, more marketing surrounding the male sports.
yeah,
However, females still need coverage. If they don't get that coverage time, they haven't got the opportunity to seek these marketing bigwigs, to have these adverts, to have these sponsors. But the point of that conversation was he had said to me, if you think women and men are the same, well, they should be treated the same, and women should play the same amount of matches as men do. And so I
yeah,
said, I didn't say women and men are the same. I said they should be treated the same. Men physiologically are different to women. And that's why there is a difference in duration of matches. And so my friend didn't know what to say, to be fair. And I said, I'm not for sexism or against sexism. I'm for equal opportunity. But in that equal opportunity, if a man can run 100 meters in, 9 point something seconds, I'm sure it's less than that now, but females, anatomically, physiologically, don't have that capability. But what I'm seeing is women are still smashing the world records. They're still going ahead and testing themselves physiologically. But I don't know. I know I've kind of gone off the subject, but I'm like looking at this from a gender bias point of view. There are still people, including men, who are looking at, well, it shouldn't be equal. Why shouldn't it be equal? Why should it be equal, should I say?
yeah.
And that's where those double standards come about. Because it's like, how do you answer that? And that is a question, Cal. How do you answer that? I want to know.
Well, I think you did answer it well, saying they should be treated equally. But you and I have seen behind the scenes of how teams train and individual sports people train. And would you say the women train less or with less intensity or less hours or less
No,
anything.
not at all.
No.
The only
And
thing
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. The only thing I would
mhm,
say is the females who have been promoted for higher division play. So if they are in elite teams, they still don't have that full-time contract pay, which
yeah,
means they still work part-time or full-time,
yeah,
and they still have to train on their own accord. So that's where there is no equality. If a professional athlete can have all the amenities, can have the training, can have the sports clubs, can have the um support, whereas a professional female doesn't necessarily get that.
no, no, they don't. And we could put Paralympians in that, or para athletes in that same
Absolutely.
category too, because I train para athletes and they do not work, as in they do not train any less so
Yeah. Yeah.
than any other team or individual athlete I've ever coached, and they get less than the women.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so rather
Anyway, yes,
than
back
looking
to
at, well, I was going to say, rather than looking at what women can't do, here's something
yes.
that men can't do. Men can't
Yeah.
give birth.
Men can't give birth and then go back to sport. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly right. But guess who did?
I love the
Serena
fact that
Williams.
Serena Williams did. And I'm going to give Nike a little bit more of a punishment because Alex Felix, the runner, the
Mm,
Olympian, the
mm,
multi-medal winning Olympian,
mm.
had been dropped by Nike because she got pregnant. And
Yes,
Serena actually got pummeled because she had known she was pregnant. I believe she known she was pregnant, but she still competed. And some people were
that's right.
saying because the amount of oxygen blood that had increased, it gave her that superpower in inverted commas.
Oh,
And
stop
that
it.
really wound me up. It's like it's almost like she'd been caught in a legal activity
Oh
for
my goodness. Yes, for like doping.
doping, exactly. And so, oh my gosh, honestly, it was like, you can't do anything right.
On the other end of the spectrum, but still in professional sport, and I won't say which sport, but you all know which ones I've worked in with women, so work that one out. If a female, if an athlete, there was a women's team. If an athlete was pregnant, she was considered injured.
That's insane.
I know. Well, it's just the other end of the insanity of Serena being doped up by being pregnant,
Mm,
and on the other end, here's this institution saying, "Oh no, being pregnant is like being injured."
yeah.
So yeah.
And there are so many Olympians now. There was this great article that I read about all of the females who are about to compete in the Olympics and where they come from, what their current challenges are. And one of them is giving herself 3 months to compete in the Olympics. Now,
Yeah.
this is really controversial because Serena had given birth to her daughter Olympia in 2017. Now,
Hmm.
there were so many doubts and questions regarding her ability to compete at the highest level after childbirth. But Serena had really embraced this challenge. She had openly said it was a massive struggle with postpartum emotions, physical
Mm,
recovery. She
mm,
had actually, I think, opened an honest, vulnerable conversation because every pregnancy, every birth story, every recovery is different.
yeah.
We cannot compare one another's because every journey is different. Every situation is different. And Serena actually spoke out, refusing to apologize about being a mother and pursuing her career. And so she actually gave a really high profile example to shatter those stereotypes, to demonstrate that motherhood and athletic success are not mutually exclusive. And
Mm-hmm.
this is where I went back to Alex Felix, or Felix. I'm not even sure if that was her full name, but she had obviously been criticized coming back to an Olympic level, like training wise. How much of a struggle is it to get your body back to pre-pregnancy, Cal?
Uh, like you said, it is so individual. I'm going to like, oh, for me, it was pretty easy, but that's crazy, right? That's
Yeah.
it's not that way for everyone, and that was I was very young when I
Yeah.
had my first baby, so that makes it a difference as well. Plus, I breastfed, which does strip your body of a lot of calories, so you know you actually look really good really fast,
Yeah.
um, but you're carrying a ton of milk,
Mm,
right? And it's very uncomfortable on your breasts and you can leak. So not all people will choose to do the breastfeeding route, and probably going into the Olympics 3 months afterwards. And I suggest she probably possibly wouldn't be breastfeeding.
yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess on that one. I, I, I don't mind either way what she does. Um, I just don't want to sound like I'm judgy. I'm not. Just because I did doesn't mean anyone else should.
No, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. And there's a lot of
yeah.
guilt behind that. I've noticed
Yeah, there's guilt
my
about
cousin,
everything.
oh my gosh, it's so
Yeah.
bad because my cousin had literally just given birth. It was probably 3, 4 weeks ago now. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
seeing her. She was so uncomfortable. She was in so much pain. She didn't
Mm-hmm.
say, she tried to hide it, but you can tell she was in pain. And she did speak up about
Mm-hmm.
it in a very
Mm-hmm.
somber way. Like it wasn't, oh my gosh, this is so painful. Like she said it in a very, oh, by the by, this is happening and it's really painful. And I'm there listening to her, and she felt so guilty about not breastfeeding, even though she wanted to. But she said, I'm so exhausted. She was like, I
Yeah.
don't know how I can do this and be in so much pain. And I just thought to myself, there are still other women who push past it, but it's not for us to judge or criticize. It's for us to accept that it's their
And
body,
support.
it's their child. Yeah, and
Yeah.
support them, judgment free.
Support each other. Yeah.
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 Absolutely. And there are some people like your cousin who really, really want to breastfeed and really, really can't.
Yeah.
And there are other people for other reasons who choose not to. Support each other.
I
And
think
that's
so.
why we should, yeah, and yeah, support Serena returning to sport after motherhood, and Alex Felix
Yeah.
returning to sport. There's probably many, many. In fact, what's her name? The Australian soccer player from the Matildas, Gorry.
Oh, I don't
Katrina
know.
Gorry. Katrina Gorry. Oh well, you wouldn't, because she's an Aussie girl and we love our Aussie girls, you know. So she's
Yeah.
big in the news over here, and she had a little baby via not artificial insemination. What's it called? Like IVF,
IVF?
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not IVF. No. Oh yeah, maybe it was IVF. But she had no partner,
Okay.
and she wanted to be a mother before she was 30. So she did, but she was competing at the highest level at the time. Um, Fell pregnant, or did it all over in Netherlands, I believe. I did only just watch this show a few weeks ago. Um, and then yeah, told her mum that she was pregnant, and even mum couldn't believe it because she was
Mhm.
at the highest level of her sport. Her
Yeah.
sport, like soccer, is women's soccer is up and coming still.
Yes.
Um, but still, we're getting an international stage. I'm so proud of our soccer girls and the
Yeah.
lionesses. You have the lionesses, don't you?
Yes. I mean, I was
Um,
going to say all the soccer girls all around the world,
all the
all of
soccer
the
girls.
teams. I
Yes,
feel like it is up and
yes,
coming, but they have been going through that struggle, right?
yes.
And I feel as well that women in general, regardless of being athletes, have this struggle with body positivity. Absolutely.
Yeah, we do. It's indoctrinated. into us. Subconsciously, we pick up on it. It's not that many generations behind us, Tuls, that, you know, women were ostracized, outcast for their weight, you know?
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
really funny because I say funny, with a light-hearted humor, because if you have a
yeah,
look at the size of um Marilyn Monroe, for example. I know we should do a podcast with her as a key topic, but even with her size was quite controversial because she was deemed as voluptuous and curvy. But then I think only recently we saw the actual shape of one of her dresses, and she was tiny. So we have no idea. And body shapes, the
yep.
sizes, they change with fashion. Like, it wasn't that long ago where skinny was in, and it wasn't that long ago where big butts and boobs were in, right? And it changes over even my lifetime. I've seen the distinction.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, the best thing I've heard about that, and I didn't hear it that long ago. I wish I'd heard it a long, long time ago. How many breeds of dogs are there? Let's say 100. Let's say 100, right? And
Yeah.
we love them all. And some people love Dobermans. And my sister's got a little Staffy Terrier, and he's 30 kilograms. He's so handsome, so handsome. But you know, and then there's Labradors, and who doesn't love a Labrador? Because they're so sweet and they're gorgeous, so loving. And then there's a greyhound, and a greyhound would probably be the supermodel of the dog world, just in terms of how skinny and tall, long legs
Yeah.
it is. But
Yeah.
you can't turn a Labrador into a greyhound.
Yeah.
But more people love Labradors than love greyhounds.
Yeah,
I
that's
would say I see more Labradors than greyhounds, and I see more Labradoodles than I see
yes.
Chihuahuas or
Yeah.
something like that, and you cannot turn a Labrador into a greyhound. So, yeah, if you are born like me, I'm the little Chihuahua. I'm not that tall. I mean, I'm mid 164, I am. And, I am not going to grow any taller. I can't be a greyhound.
Yeah.
So why do we love so many different breeds of dogs and bitses of dogs, and we are so cruel to someone who sits outside the norm, or not even the norm, but what is considered fashion right here, right now?
So here's my little two pence on this. What
Hmm.
I feel is I agree with what you said regarding indoctrination, but I also feel that the people who are writing this, the people who are on media, the people who are covering all of this content that is being fed out into the world have a very specific want, need, desire. And through those desires, through what they feel is attractive, they have
Mm,
then put that spin on the story. So, just for example, Serena Williams, she is athletic, she is strong, she is her physique is muscular. She is voluptuous, but she's also incredibly athletic. And there are
hmm,
different shapes and sizes in tennis. What I'm trying to
hmm,
say is the people who write the magazines, the people who write the articles have a very specific idea of what is attractive to them. And in that
hmm.
opinionated coverage, that is being seeped out and fed into the thousands, the millions. And then that has been triggered for women and even men who are, thinking about their own idea of body positivity or not. It's actually going, well, that triggers in them an insecurity, an uncertainty, a self-doubt.
Yeah, no doubt Serena Williams would outdo my husband in the gym, definitely on the tennis court. So there probably is some insecurity there as well. And she's a tall woman, I believe.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
I think she is. I think her and Venus are both tall women.
Yeah.
Are you Googling it?
No, I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
It's not
I
like
think
you not
she
to
is.
Google.
Because I remember I was literally just having images of her being on the F1 scene. So I hadn't seen her in person, but I know she visits Lewis Hamilton quite a lot. And she was being
Right.
interviewed by a person who wasn't short, but wasn't very tall either. And I think she was towering over him. So I was just kind of recalling that
All right.
scenario in my head.
Interestingly, Google just says Serena Williams is 1.75 meters tall,
Oh, well, there you go.
175 centimeters. That's not that tall. 5'9", taller than me,
I mean, it's taller
but
than
five foot
me.
nine.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
taller
yeah,
than the average, say, girl in the UK, I would say.
yeah,
Just.
yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think the average person is 5'9".
Well, the
Oh,
average supermodel
average
is
woman.
about 6 foot minimum, right? So she's
Uh,
nearing it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just looking at some images. When I looked up her height, the images of her come up. She's
Ah,
amazing. She's amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. And
yeah.
did you want to go through her advocacy for racial injustice and equality? I say
Yes.
injustice, it's
Okay.
racial justice and equality.
Racial justice. Racial justice. Yes, not injustice. So she has a huge platform, and she has used it for her interests and also, like you said, racial justice and equality. So she's advocated for both within and beyond the world of sport. So she hasn't just limited it to her personal world.
Yeah.
So she's spoken out against racial discrimination and police brutality. And do you remember she lent her voice to movements like Black Lives Matter? And she had unwavering support for social justice causes, and all, of course, coupled with her own experiences as a Black woman in a predominantly white sport.
Mm,
Um, and she's amplified conversations about systemic racism, and she's inspired others to use their platforms for positive change as well. Like, listen to all this good she's done. And
yeah.
she has been quite fearless and, shall we say, unapologetic um, in addressing issues of race and inequality. And she continues to leave a lasting impact on and off the tennis court because she has retired now.
Yes, yeah, she's doing other things. She's doing speaking engagements. I haven't really followed her most recently because obviously
Mm,
I haven't really followed social media and
no, I
use
don't
as
either.
much. But it's kind of like you dip in and out, and she's not really in the eye of social media. But I don't know, the bets on her not being in the forefront of social media in regards to her own happiness and wellness, like it's probably a lot higher than when she was in the public eye being scrutinized, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. Let's just hope she's just living her best life
Yeah,
with her little
absolutely.
girl and her
Well, the thing
husband.
is, it's
Yeah,
a when you're not feeling great about yourself or when you're being tough on yourself or you're going through your own life's hardships, it's it's one thing to go at it when you're not in the public eye, and then there's another thing to go through that whilst you're in the public eye. And I feel like having to put on a mask, having to put on this persona to be resilient, to be courageous, to be unapologetic, but also um be brave and stand up for themselves because they want to obviously be perceived in a certain way regarding their fans, because you can't really tell them, and maybe you don't want to tell them all about your personal life, all about all of the things that have happened. And I
I
bet
wouldn't.
even when she was speaking about her postpartum, it was something quite close to her, like, why do I have to explain this? This is something that's
Yeah,
happening to me, you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. Did you see the movie called King Richard, which was about
I
the
haven't, but
the
it is on my watch list because it was starring
do
Will
it?
Smith as the father, right?
That's right. Yes.
And what did
Yeah.
you think of
And
it?
I loved it. My husband thought we were going to go and see a movie about King Richard.
Oh. Oh,
And he was
okay.
pleasantly surprised and very happy to hear that it was about the Williams sisters, the
Yeah.
Williams family, truly. Um, Great movie. I liked it. I really did like it. It finishes right where you actually want it to start, not where you want it to start. You want it to continue. Um,
Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
interesting. Yeah, it stops before she's a superstar, way
Oh,
before.
that's
So
really
maybe there'll
interesting.
be a
So
part
maybe,
two, but
yeah, there's another room for another movie. But there is a recent
there
film that
is.
has
Yes.
just come out, and it's starring
Yeah.
Zendaya, and she is a tennis star. She's
Oh,
a tennis
oh yeah,
pro.
the challenges.
Yeah, so that
Yes.
is an interesting. I think we've just brought Serena out at the right time for this topic, but I feel like she is such an outstanding character, and she's done really, really well in terms of it. Tennis isn't easy in it, actually being playing and learning about it now. It's like they've committed themselves to this. They've gone through the struggles. They've done a lot of hardship and sacrifices. And this isn't even talking about their personal life because there has been tragedy in their family life as well. But it's actually
Absolutely.
saying,
Yes.
credit where it's due. She's hardworking. She's incredible. She's an amazing role model for young girls and future tennis players, right? I feel like we just need to keep drumming, how
Mm-hmm.
amazing we have female athletes out there and how unapologetically they are, just so we can encourage that in our young girls and friends and family.
So many good role models.
Yeah,
So many. Yeah.
absolutely.
Our young Ash Barty, God, she's gorgeous as well.
There are so
I
many
love Ash.
amazing, amazing, incredible women out there. So this is a
Yep.
homage just to say we love you and thank
Yeah.
you for being you. And even if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm not a superstar, you're a superstar in your own right. So you're actually
Yeah,
listening to
yeah.
this, listening to
Yeah.
how you can improve yourself. But I want to go through our last segment, which is another one of my favorites. We usually talk about a health motivational tip of the day, and we can kind of spin it into how can we ourselves be unapologetically ourselves. So what is our health
Mm-hmm.
motivational tip of the day, or how can we be more unapologetically ourselves? What about you, Cal? What's your
Ooh,
answer?
I've never thought of it as being how to be more unapologetically myself. But I do like that spin on it. What have I done lately that I've just gone, I don't even care. Um, it's more about me fitting into the environment up here. I did not grow up coastal, so did not grow up as a beach girl, an
Okay.
Aussie beach girl. I was a country kid, right? Total country kid. So I wore boots and jeans and um jodhpurs, blazers, flannies, that's what I wore. And when I came here, but then I lived in the mountains and wore probably more normal clothes, but warm clothes. And then you come here and people were in the supermarket with no shoes on, and I'm like, I'm embracing it. I'm embracing it. I say wear no shoes more often. I
Oh,
say walk on
nice.
the grass with no shoes. It's
Yeah.
not great when you see filthy feet in the supermarket. I'm still like maybe just wear thongs. Thongs in
Yeah.
Australia are the flip-flops of other countries. Let me just
Yes.
make that point.
As a side note.
Um, as a side note, exactly. Um, yeah, barefoot,
I
do
love
it. Walk on
that.
the sand, walk on the grass, embrace it.
And you know what? We're connected. We're from Earth, right? When we die, our
Yes,
body is going back to Earth. It's going to be consumed
yes.
by little insects and however you're going to go, whatever that means for you. Like
Yep.
for me, I want to be oh, I can't even think of the term. What's wrong with me today?
Is
Um
it cremated?
Cremated. That's I was gonna
Yeah,
say
me too.
incarnated, and I was like, that's not the word. There's me being unapologetically myself. Today, I don't know where my brain is. Okay. Wow.
I love it. I want to be incarnated too.
That'll be another podcast. What are we going to be reincarnated to? Um, oh my goodness. So yeah, basically we're our body is only temporary. Our life is only temporary. Our experiences are temporary. So enjoy it, you know, walk on the grass and feel the earth below you, like reconnect back to nature. We know there are so many health benefits around nature. So I agree with you on that one. And I'm going to get my small dose of outdoor activity today by going to tennis and having fun. I feel like that should be my intention, and that's how I'm going to be unapologetically myself, is just have more fun. That is my goal.
Oh, I want to laugh more as well. Linda, oh God, my friend Linda, she's so unapologetically herself. She, can I tell a story about
Mm,
Linda? I
please
think I
do.
mention Linda every now
Yes.
and again. And Linda is truly unapologetically herself, but doesn't mean to be outside the realms of normal, but she just is just so happy all of the time. And she walks in with a smile on her face and these beautiful dimples. Anyway, she bought a caravan a new caravan. She had a caravan that she's been towing around and living in, and it was like a palace on wheels. But anyway, she got a smaller one, and she was driving it back from Gympie in Queensland back to Pottsville, which is about 20 minutes down the road from us. And she had a job at Pottsville. So she said to me, just so I'm up to date with where she is and I'm not worried, she said, I've stopped at Pottsville. I'm going to have a shower, then I'll go to work and everything's fine. Don't worry about me. And then she texts me 10 minutes later. No, I got home. I got home this morning. I went out this morning and I came back and I went, I'm home. Where are you? And she said, I'm locked in the caravan. I'm
Oh,
locked in the caravan. I can't get out. I said, all right, I have got a client for half an hour and then I'll come and get you out. I didn't know how I would. Anyway, so so she just as I was about to leave, she said, don't worry, I climbed out the window. So bless Linda, like she made friends while she was doing it. So these people were helping her climb out the window. Um, and yeah, and assisting her. So she's made friends. She has more local friends than I do because of the things she does and because she's just so joyful about everything.
oh.
And she said she went to a shop the other day and she said, oh, I told Sylvia, the lady who owns the shop, I told Sylvia all about you. She's going to call you to see if you can rehab her from a knee reconstruction. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I don't even know who Sylvia is, but she's out there with my phone number and she's going to call. But that's
Oh,
what I mean. Like, she's
she's a great
unapologetically herself.
networker. She's a
Oh,
great
she's
networker.
yeah, but not by design. She's not
Okay.
going out and going, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she just does it. And oh, you just love it. Everyone loves her. Everyone. So that's what I mean. Do be you. Do be you.
Yes.
Do you. Do you.
Yes. And
Just
also,
be yourself.
it's so funny because I remember this quote that I loved is people aren't going to remember what you did. People will remember how you made them feel. So it's not a case of
Absolutely.
people pleasing. It's not a case of doing what you think is right because they want that. Lots of people we've already established, they don't know what they want. So it's actually just saying, be brave enough to be who you are. And when you know
Yep.
who that is, just keep being that and keep evolving. Because none of us are the same people than we were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We're constantly
Yep.
evolving. So I love those tips. I think we shared a bunch there and we paid and we gave credit to your amazing unapologetic friend. Um so thank you so much, Kelly, for this unique podcast. I really enjoyed today and I really enjoyed discussing so many different topics, but not in a very serious way. I feel they were very serious topics, but we had a nice spin on them. Oh, that pun
Yeah.
was not
Ooh.
intended.
Ah, yes. Nice spin.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
No, that's true. I love the
thank
way
you
we did it today
everyone.
too.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for listening. If you found this podcast useful or interesting, comment below. Share it with your family and friends because we are still trying to grow this channel. We'd love to reach more people and have you be a part of our community. So hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube or follow us on Spotify. And I hope you enjoyed this one. We will see you on the next one. Bye for now, Cal.
Bye bye, Tuls.